Yeah, we've got a mess down here. Oil everywhere.
Hello everybody and welcome. Today we are in the K3500. Good old Chevy here. And as any good old Chevy, we've got oil leaks. I actually just got done with fixing another leak on this truck. It was the oil and trans cooler lines, and those were all leaking, you know, as they do on any old Chevy. Today we are tackling valve cover gaskets. They've been slowly seeping on this engine for a while. I have the big old school 454 big block, but this is the fuel injected version. No, not throttle body, not carbureted, fuel injected. So that's something that I actually personally like. I enjoy that. But the valve cover seals on this thing have been going out for, okay, yes, Dodges. The valve cover gaskets have been going out on this thing for quite some time. Started out with just some seepage, and it's gotten worse and worse over time. At this stage, we're to the point where they leak everywhere around the backside of the engine and make a mess of literally everything everywhere all the time. And it's a significant leak if it's been running for a while. Like, we're getting into the colder months and I've been warming it up in the mornings, and it's enough to leave a puddle, so pretty severe. Normally I would tackle these jobs myself, but seeing as how this is my daily driver currently, I need to get this done quickly and correctly. So I'm going to be going over to my dad's shop. His boss is kind enough to let us use the facility, so I'll get to use a lift and all sorts of stuff. He's been a mechanic for most of his life, so a few tricks of the trade, and hopefully things will go smoothly for us here. Alrighty, and here she is, the old girl. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Good old school 454 big block. Alright, yep, and you can see on this side, down in here, there is some pretty good seepage all the way around. Not a very clean engine. On the other side, you can see similar things, and I think the passenger side here is probably worse, is my guess. And you can see evidence of it all over down there. It is bad. It's rough. Yeah, we got leakage all the way up here, all the way around basically everything. It drips around the starter, leaks on the exhaust. It's a mess down here. So as I get started tearing the truck apart, let me just explain a couple things here. First off, I'm using this shop really as just a resource to be out of the weather for this project. There's no reason you couldn't do this in a driveway, but the shop being out of the weather, now that it's getting cold, big deal here. And you can see my dad giving me a hand, just kind of giving me some oversight. This is easily an attainable job for anyone to be able to do themselves. So here I've got one side free, and the other side is unbolted. I think that we'll be able to get it off. We have the plenum and this radiator hose that are a little bit tight, and maybe that EGR hose at the back, but I think we'll be able to slip that right out. On the passenger side here, we have the intake that goes into the plenum there, and that's really kind of a bit more of a problem. So I'm going to try to unbolt our dipstick here, flip that out of the way, and I think that'll give us some clearance to pull that up and down. Alrighty, here is our valve covers removed with the gaskets inside of them. But taking a look here, that's the gasket style that's in there, and that's what I purchased. So not entirely sure about that. I'm going to go ask my dad, see what he has to say about this, because that doesn't seem quite right to me. Bad news, I got the wrong gaskets. Oh, I should actually probably run in there and grab those so I can return them. But I have to go run real quick and grab some different gaskets, the O-ring style, more modern than the flat style that I had before. I think that seems to be determined by the valve cover. Just looking at the molding, never done this job before, so it's all new for me. So let's see, I'm gonna go run to the parts shop in my dad's car and come back, and then we will be all ready to go, hopefully.
no more issues. Alrighty, we've got fresh gaskets, very different style than what I had before. I think they're the right ones. Hopefully they're the right ones. They're also the only ones available in town. So let's go back to the shop and see if they are gonna work for me. I think we're good. Here's a spot that I did take advantage of the shop resources again. Using this parts cleaner. It was great for cleaning up the valve covers and just made the job a little bit easier and cleaner to do. Totally unnecessary. You could do this just about wherever you wanted with some solvent and a big tote outside, but this just made the job a little bit easier to do. Just like cleaning up the valve covers themselves, I had to go back and clean off the top of the heads to try to make a nice clean mating surface here. You can see there was a lot of junk, so I just went around with a fine-tooth comb and cleaned everything up. And then we were back on to reassembly, where I just pressed the new gaskets into the valve covers and installed the valve covers right back in the reverse order that I did prior. This went nice and smooth. The only hiccups I had was forgetting to put on my little spark plug keepers that use the same valve cover bolts. So don't do something like that. Save yourself a little bit of effort, and this should be a really smooth and easy job on a truck that has this much space in the engine bay. Alrighty, and we are done. I think I've got everything all cleaned up, and only a little bit of a mess. It'll take a little while to see because the entire engine was covered in oil. So as it is right now, after idling it for about 20 minutes, there was one singular drip on the ground, which could easily be from, you know, the rest of the engine that was still messy. So we'll see. I'm pretty excited about this though, keeping the engine nice and sealed up as much as possible for a 25-year-old Chevy, but this is a fun project. I thank my dad for letting me work on that and get it done. But that's it for today, guys. We will keep working on some more projects, some more Chevy projects, some more Integra projects, and all sorts of different stuff. If that's the kind of stuff that interests you, make sure you get subscribed and give this video a thumbs up. Catch you guys in the next one. All right, here's our aftermath here. You can see there's not any residue on any of this any longer. So it's looking pretty good. Even if I get all up in here and reach around the back, it's pretty clean. And that is true on both sides. Fortunately, a lot of my paint did start to give up there on those covers, but what you gonna do? 25-year-old truck. Now, the unfortunate part about all of this is if I go underneath, dun dun dun, yes, so you can see underneath this is, yeah, that's terrible. But the unfortunate bit is that, as you can see right there, there is still a pretty solid leak all over the bottom of this truck. We fixed the valve cover gasket, but that is clearly not all that is leaking. My next guess is maybe oil pan gasket and or rear main seal. Both of those could cause similar issues here, and that's basically what we're looking at doing next. This is still a nice big old mess on the bottom, still leaving marks everywhere it goes, like any old Chevy will. Not as bad as it was, but still needs some love. So we've got some more work ahead of us. Stay tuned and see what all it takes to get this to stop marking its territory.